Hey everyone, thanks so much for coming back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another update on my second ever Project Pan. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Sarah. I like to record beauty content. I've gotten into project panning, makeup tutorials, and beauty box unboxings. So if that sounds like content that you are interested in, I would love for you to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Today's video is an exciting one, so there are 3 rollouts. So if you are interested to see how the project is going, then stick around and keep on watching. First up is my Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. This is in the shade Medium Beige. This rolled in September, and the original goal was to get down to that blue line. In September, I used it 25 times and got pretty close to the goal line already. So I updated the goal to be a finish goal. I am still mixing this with the blue mixing pigment. I got another one, and a little bit of the e.l.f. Halo Glow. But in October, I used this 21 times, which brings me to a total of 46 uses. And now here is what the foundation is looking like. I couldn't get a good line marking because of the way that the foundation had settled, but here's a view inside the bottle with the flash so that you can kind of see how far down the foundation is. I thought I was seeing the light shine through the bottom of the bottle, but it's not. But this one's almost done. Next up is my concealer. It's the Tarte Shape Tape Ultra Creamy in the shade Light Medium Sand. So this was a replacement for the one that gave me eczema on my eyelids. And I used it 0 times in October because I was still dealing with all of that. So it looks exactly the same. Next is my Shades by Shan bronzer in the shade Walnut. This rolled in September with a goal to hit pan. It was pretty much brand new with only a few uses. Here's what it looked like at the start of October after 25 uses. Hopefully you're seeing a tiny bit of disturbance, a little proof of usage. I used it 21 times in the month of October. We do have a fall break from school, so I didn't wear a ton of makeup then, which is why there's a few less uses. Here's what the bronzer is looking like now at the beginning of November after a total of 46 uses. So I can see that the bronzer is getting a little bit lower in the pan if you look at the very edges, and definitely a lot more disturbance in the center of the product. But I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm going to hit pan on this one. Next up is my Fenty Beauty blush in the shade Lollipoppy. This rolled in at the beginning of September, and I put a 40 use goal on this one. I really was just trying to wear away the embossing since this was brand new. I had just gotten it in an Allure beauty box in July, I think. In the month of September, I used it 26 times, and here's what it was looking like at the beginning of October. And you can start to see some of the embossing is wearing away, and there's some definite usage showing up there. It is a super pigmented blush, so I don't need to use a ton, and there's a bunch of color payoff. In the month of October, I used it 21 times for a total of 47 uses, which surpassed the 40 use goal. And now there's even more usage showing up, and a little bit more of the embossing has worn away. This blush was absolutely gorgeous. I loved it. I can't wait for next summer to roll around again so I can bring it back out and use it some more. Next is my highlighter from the BH Cosmetics Desert Oasis palette, and I'm working on the shade Hideaway now. So it's the 5th highlighter in the bottom right corner, right next to Utopia that I was working on in the last update. So I used this 17 times, and here is what it's looking like now. So it's got a really good dip. There is a little patch that looks like it might be pan, but it's not. And again, another highlight shade, Mirage, that giant one in the middle, has busted from traveling around with this in my little makeup bag. So yeah, that's gonna need to be repressed, but we're making good progress on Hideaway. I am trying to pan this one. We'll see how long it takes. I've got 2 more months to do it. Next up is my eyeshadow single from Illamasqua in the shade Horde. This rolled in August with a hit pan goal. Here's what it looked like at the beginning of October after 27 uses. So a really good dip going down into the pan at this point. Then in October, I only used it 5 times and then I reached the pan. So here's what it's looking like now. You see the nice, bright, shiny pan in there. It's a nice big one too. This was a beautiful everyday shade that I wore to work. I loved it so much, but this is another goal met. Now, because I met that goal so quickly in October, I went ahead and rolled in another eyeshadow single. So here is my e.l.f. shadow stick in the shade Rose Gold. I wanted to set a little baby goal, so here's what it looked like in October at the very beginning when it rolled in, and I just wanted to use up a little bit, so I marked a goal line that is not much further than my earlier e.l.f. shadow stick. I used it 8 times and then surpassed my goal line. This was another really beautiful, just neutral, everyday shadow stick that I could use all of the time for work, and it was really easy to put on and then blend out really quickly. So another great eyeshadow single that got some use in this project, and another goal met. Hooray! Next is my chosen palette with a random shade. So this is my BH Cosmetics Midnight City palette. And I think this was like a free gift with a purchase that I made years ago on the BH Cosmetics website. So I was working on the 4th shade, that bright blue in the top right corner, and I rolled it in for just a 5-use goal. In the month of October, I used it a whole 2 times, so it got a little bit of use. And here's what it's looking like now. So it doesn't show a ton of usage, maybe the tiniest little bit of disturbance. And if you see a little bit of like brown mixed in, that's because I used it to mix in with my Shades by Shan bronzer. So as we're getting later into the year, it is looking super duper warm toned and very orange, so I figured I would use this blue to help tone it down and try to neutralize it a little bit. And that did work out. It also gave a nice little bit of a shimmer and sheen to the bronzer. So 2 uses and gotta keep going. Next up is my random palette with a chosen shade. This rolled in also in October, and I chose the shade Fly Swatter, which is the first one in the middle row, that beautiful teal. So I rolled it in for a 5-use goal, and in the month of October, I was able to use it 1 time. So here's what it's looking like now. Pretty much the same. I would have thought that in the month of October with Halloween and all the fun like makeup looks and stuff going on, that I would have used it really pretty quickly and met that goal. But that's okay. I got 1 use out of it, so more than 0. Still got to keep this one in the project and keep working on it. Next is my Thrive Causemetics lip liner. This one has just kind of stayed in the project. It rolled in June. I met my goal line in July. And here is where this lip liner was at the end of September. So after all the September usage, I used it 23 times in September. And then in the month of October, I used it 1 time, or I at least tracked 1 use. So here's what it looks like now after that 1 use in October. So not a whole lot of movement. I am using it to line and fill my lips. So it did move a little bit, but let's see. I still think I can finish this before the end of the year. And last but not least is my Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink Lipstick in the shade Founder. So this rolled in September for a 30-use goal, and I used it 3 times in September. So it's got opaque packaging, so you're not going to see visible progress, but in October, I used it 17 times because it's a fabulous shade for October and into November. So the goal is 30 uses, and I'm at 20 so far. I feel like I've got this one in the bag. This one is going to be a rollout in the next update. Now it's time for the roll-ins. So first I've got to roll in a new blush. So let's see what we get. The Nabla Skin Glazing in the shade Truth. This one is beautiful. It's a very glowy blush. It is on like the peachy coral side, so kind of an odd shade for November, but that's okay. Maybe I'll mix it on top of another blush, but it's really pretty. I love a glowy blush, especially for this time of year, heavy into fall when things start to get golden and warm toned and all of that. This one is also gonna get a 40 use goal. We'll see how it goes. Next, it's time to randomize an eyeshadow single. Another eyeshadow stick. Okay, so this one I've never used before. It's the Real Her Shadow Stick in the shade Chocolate. This one came from an Allure Beauty box. It has 0 usage. I am glad that I got one in a neutral shade. This one should be easy to use. So I am gonna put a 20 use goal on this one. I think that's totally doable because it is a neutral, like medium brown shade. It does blend out super easily. You can see the blending in action. I think this will be really easy to use in my outer corner for a good neutral everyday eye look. Okay, so that is it for this update. I'm so excited about these 3 rollouts. I feel like I got a lot of good usage. Let me know what your predictions are for the next update. Well, that is gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, I would love it if you would click the like button and subscribe to my channel so that way you'll see all the future updates for my Project Pan. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.